white identification. Very important concept. I talked about this concept earlier this month. I thought it was very important. It was very useful in describing what I observe within the context of white supremacy. Very useful term, I think. You talk about this term extensively in your book, and I just want to read a quick portion and then get you to further explain the term white identification. In the book, it is written, white identification, that this is a white identified black person is a black person who views the world through a white perspective, even when it conflicts with his or her own self and group interests. A white identified black person pursues interests, activities, and relationships primarily because white people are associated with them, and often avoids or looks down on certain people, places, and things primarily because black people are associated with them. Here's some more thoughts on the term white identification.
Sure. For example, I'm sure we've all met people like this, and maybe we've even been guilty of it ourselves. But, some of the things that, for example, you might find some black people who are proud that they can't dance, as though that makes them less stereotypically black. And so it's almost like you have a white traffic cop in your head, directing your thoughts and your actions, what's acceptable, what's not acceptable. I know that I went through that for quite a long period of my life, and I'm still fighting it because I grew up in a family where there was a lot of white identification. I mean, my family members were very nice people, but a lot of brainwashing went on, a lot of brainwashing was passed along. So I would have to say that it's almost like you get permission. You have to get permission from the white traffic cop in your head before you can like or do something. And underneath it all is self-hatred, because there's no way that you can look down on black people collectively and respect yourself. If you're a black person, I don't care if you're black identified or not, when you look at black people, and I'll give you another example. You're on a train, and some black young people come on, and they're noisy. You automatically almost think, and I've noticed this reaction, you'll watch the people in the train, automatically there's a lot of negative tension, there's a lot of negativity. But when some white kids get on, same age group, dressed pretty much similarly, and they get on and they make noise, it's just kids just being kids. So it's like you're seeing the world through white eyes. And if you're seeing the world through white eyes as a black person, then you're going to be self-hating, because the white world says that black is ugly, black is inferior. I don't care what they try to tell you that they're saying. This is a black-hating culture. So to be white identified typically means that you're condemning black people, and you're also condemning yourself, because how can you not condemn yourself? You're also condemning yourself, because how can you not?
Hi, Gina. So why do you want to be America's Next Top Model?
I think that there's just not enough Asian models out there. I feel that I can break down that barrier, and I think it's my responsibility.
You say that you're not the girl next door, you're wild. What do you mean by that?
If you're going to ask me to get down strip naked, I will do it. That's just how I am.
Well,
but the thing is, my parents kind of have a thing with that. So, I don't know if I would go against my parents or not. I'm not sure. I kind of believe more in the American culture more than my parents.
Oh.
I'm not into Asian guys.
Why not?
The thing is, they're a lot shorter than I am, which is something that I can't tolerate.
You've come so full circle from your initial statement.
But do you understand how you were a contradiction? First you were saying, I'm Asian, I'm strong, I'm Korean, and then you're saying, screw Korean boys, and I want a white boy.
I don't know what exactly happened, but I got confused, and I started contradicting myself because certain things just started coming out, and it didn't make it
we are all programmed to be white identified. So I'm not picking on any non-white people. I'm guilty of this myself. I had Michael Corleone as my standard for counter-racism, clearly white identified. But in the book here, you talk about how, I think it was Brother Polite, he was on the program a couple of weeks back, and he said the system of white supremacy is pretty much worldwide, like white people have home court advantage. Everything is set to their advantage everywhere in the world. And a part of this white identification, you write, it's in the book on page 135, that it's normal for the white collective to set standards that benefit their group and affirms their self-worth as white people collectively. Can you just kind of talk about how everything, entertainment, labor law, politics, all areas of people activity condition everyone to be white identified?
Well, when you control the images, when you control the standards and the values, when you control who gets what and how much they get, when you control everything that a person needs to sustain themselves, and you put a value on people as well, then it's impossible not to be. I think it's impossible not to be white identified, even amongst the so-called conscious black population. There's still a lot of skin colorism. There's still a lot of hairism. So it's very difficult to grow up in a society where I was standing at the checkout line yesterday at the grocery store, and all around me on these magazine racks, I saw nothing but white people. I mean, there are a few black magazines, but a lot of times now the black magazines, if there's a female on the cover, she's made up to look as white as she possibly can. They lighten the black females now. I don't know if anybody's noticed, but if you look at any kind of print ad, or you look at a magazine, or you look at a TV show, or a poster, or anything, all of the black women now are this light brown to white shade. And some of these sisters are dark skinned, or at least dark brown, at least brown skinned. So I'm stood there looking at the rack, and it just struck me, and I said, my God, everything I'm looking at is about white people. And the women all look alike. The hair might be blonde, same kind of eyes, same kind of nose. And I'm just looking at this, almost like this cookie cutter type of beauty. And I said, no wonder people are so brainwashed. If you turn on the television, it's all about white people. Everywhere you go, it's about white people. They made some statement talking about the riots in Egypt. And one of the newscasters said that Alexander the Great discovered Egypt. And I said to myself, everything you hear and you see is about white people. It's about white people even have done something, even if they didn't do it.
You wish you could be white?
Yes, and I wish I can have godparents.
You want to have godparents?
I have godparents. Where?
So you don't like being brown?
No, brown sucks.
What about white? You want to be white?
Yeah.
Why do you want to be white? Because they're rich?
No, because white is so sexy.